Hi folks, I'm happy to present you my latest project, which is a full-stack SaaS application that allows users to handle appointments. Thus, I call it Appointment Manager. It's designed for dental offices, doctor's offices, or law offices that have to keep track of appointments. In developing this project, I used Nextjs for front-end and API routes, JasonWebTOken and Nextjs middleware for user authentication and protected routes. I used MongoDB for all database operations, React dates to handle date and time, and finally, I used ThreeJs for this login screen animation. After a successful login, this padlock breaks open and we are logged in. Let's see the application in action. We gotta log in first. The username will be clinic01 and we enter the password and hit login. Successfully logged in, padlock breaks open. Yeah, to have a bird's eye view of the appointment managing page, we have the current date and time here. Right below that, we have the calendar, and by default, today's date is selected, April 23. Up here, we have the selected date. For example, when we switch between dates, it helps us to see where we are. Now we are in April 25. We were here before. And of course, we have a logout button here. And to register a new appointment, I need an available time slot. So the color codes we have here highlight if that specific time slot is occupied or available. Green ones are empty and red ones are occupied. Let's add an appointment for 3 p.m. And please pay attention, this 3 p.m. is 3 p.m. tomorrow because it's April 23 today. And once we register the appointment, we will have assigned this time slot and this date to this particular appointment so that there cannot be two appointments for the same time slot. This pointer on the button, this pointer and the custom border style helps us to see which time slot is currently selected. And we can see it's 3 p.m. is selected. Next, we click on this plus sign and we get the fields where we can add the details for this appointment. I will just type some gibberish here, just some junk text, and hit the add button. Adding the appointment, successfully added appointment. The feedback message disappears in a bit, and as you can see, the time slot for 3 p.m. is now red, which means it's occupied. We successfully saved this appointment. At the same time, the actions to take on this time slot have changed. We no longer have the add button, but we have the update and remove buttons up here. And all the visual highlighting is based on the responses we get from the database, from the backend. Only a few things happen on the client side, which makes things relatively more secure. Before testing this update and remove actions, let's see what happens when I switch between dates. Now we are on April 24. Let me just go back to April 11. Yeah. Once the date has changed, you can see it's now the selected date is April 11. Yeah, and once the date has changed, we send a new request to our database and we retrieve the appointments for this newly selected date. As you can see, during this database connection time, when I switch between dates, we see all the time slots gray. Just to improve user experience, I added a third color code. Basically, we have 3 different color codes for time slots. Green for available time slots, red for occupied, and in between switches, we have the gray color that displays that the results are loading. Yeah, now we are on April 11. There are a few things I want to show you here. Once we click on this add button, nothing happens because I disabled this feature for past dates. Obviously, it doesn't make much sense to register an appointment for a date in the past. So what about existing appointments? Let's say I go to this one, the time slot 9 a.m. We have an appointment here. Actually, we can still see the details of the appointment, but we cannot edit them. For example, for an existing appointment for a future date, if we have an appointment, we have this update and remove options. But for the past appointments, we don't have this editing options because it doesn't make sense to edit an appointment that is already in the past. Now we can just test this update and remove actions. Let's update the appointment. Just click on this updating the appointment. Note that no change detected. As you can see, I tried to provide as much feedback to the user as possible to make things smoother. We simply sent the same appointment object and tried to update it, but we got this feedback. Again, no change detected. What if I change it a little bit? Let me just add just once here, okay? I'll just add some junk text and update it now. Yep, this time I got a success message and we see the updated appointment here. Now we have this once at the end of the patient detail. Say I want to cancel this appointment, then hit this remove button. We ask for confirmation. Do you want to remove the appointment? Okay, then it's been removed. Now the time slot 9 a.m. is green again because now it's available, but this one is not available. This is the summary of how the appointment manager works, but I have one final thing to show you. What if the user session ends or the JSON Web Token expires or is tampered with? In that case, we navigate the user back to the login page if they try to take action. So I'll just go to inspect and remove this token. I just remove the token. Then if I try to take action, I will just take action. Let's say I'll change the date. I'll try to go to another date to add or remove an appointment. Click on this one. Yep, we can't access the date because we're not logged in anymore. This is also the case when we attempt to remove, add or update an appointment after the session ends or token expires. Hope you found this SaaS project fun. If so, please give it a like or a comment so that I can beat the odds.